Hello everyone, how you doing today? I'm back with another video, and in today's video we have an old Dell laptop. This one is a Dell XPS M1530 and they're really old. I made a video how to upgrade the hard drive to an SSD drive to improve the speed and how to upgrade the RAM. You can check those videos on my channel. Also, in this video I'm gonna show you guys how to do your proper maintenance. Like you can just repaste, clean up the fan and clean up the heatsink the proper way. So if you keep it cleaned up and everything, the CPU is running cooler and the speed of the CPU is going to increase a little bit, so it's not going to over throttle. The tools that you're going to be needing are a few things. You will need an alcohol, isopropylic alcohol 95% plus. You will need an old or new toothbrush. You will need a workshop towel. I'll leave the link for all this in my video description, so you can take a look at it. Also, you will need a screwdriver set. I use and I recommend to everybody the UFIXTEK tool set. These are one of the best screw bits out there. They have an S2 class steel, which are really tough in steel, an aluminum handle and extension. They're really nice and suitable. We're gonna use a Phillips #1 from this tool set. You will need a tweezers, a curved or a straight tweezers, and also you need your favorite thermal paste. I'm going to be using Arctic MX4. These are one of the really good brands, but if you want to go overkill and get something better, get the Thermal Grizzly Cryonut. Again, the links are in my video description. Alright, let's get it started. First thing first, you want to power off the laptop and you want to flip it upside down. And next thing is to remove the battery. To remove the battery, you want to pull this trigger all the way there to the right or your left until it does a click. And then you just want to slide back the battery. That's how you remove the battery. Once the battery is removed, we're going to remove this service cover, which is an L shape right over here. These they have screws on them, but the screws, they have a C-lock on them, so you just have to rotate and it will just open. I believe this one has a broken C-lock on them, the middle screw, and the screw will actually come out completely. So yours might not come out because they have a C-lock. And remove the middle screw too. Once you remove all the screw, put your finger right here and just lift it up. And this is the main cover, the bottom side. You can go ahead and use a toothbrush and clean up all this ventilation right here. Down here you can see the whole heatsink. We have a GPU right over here, and North Bridge, CPU, and the fan right over here. So we're going to remove this whole system. First, we're going to start by pulling up the fan cable from the motherboard. Just wiggle it around. It should come out pretty easy. We're starting from the tip of the heatsink. Let's go ahead and remove this screw right there. And remove the 4 screws on the CPU X clamp. They have a C-lock on them. So you just have to do like a 5-6 turns, probably 7. Once you did that, remove the 2 screws for the GPU, again with a C-lock, so just loosen them up. Once you remove all those, you want to grab it. Make sure you don't grab it from in the corner. You don't want to bend the tubing or anything. Grab it from the middle right here. Move it around a little bit so you can break that seal. If you find it really tough, just, you see, I pull it up a little bit from here and you just hear that click, that crack right there. That was the heatsink. So now I'm going to grab it mostly from here and let it support from this side. And we should be able to crack this one up. So this thermal paste has been really old. Nobody ever gave the service or maintenance to this one. So lift it up, bring it up, slide out. So there you go. You see the thermal paste is like a concrete. This is not even a paste anymore. This is just like a piece of concrete right here, cement. So now we're gonna clean it up and we're gonna clean up the CPU. There's a pad on the North Bridge. The North Bridge, you don't need to change the pad, but if you do want to change the pad, these are 0.3 millimeters or 0.4 millimeters pads. For a soft pad, a 0.4 millimeters pad, you can put it on top. So let's go ahead and clean up the motherboard first. So what do you need to do? You need a because it's really hard, I'm not gonna use a guitar pick or anything today. I'm gonna use a pick, a plastic pick. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna damp. This is not put a spray of the alcohol right on top of the GPU and start rubbing it on the crystal just to clean up the die. The alcohol will blend it out, so it makes it easier to clean up the die. You do not need to clean up the around the CPU, and if you do, just be careful with the capacitors. There we go. Once you clean it up, grab a piece of the workshop towel and just damp it on top and clean it up. Now that's a nicely cleaned it. We're gonna clean up you can soak it in here. Now we're gonna clean up the north bridge. Now let's go ahead and clean up the CPU. Again, put a little bit of that on top and just rub the crystal on top of the die. Now we're gonna do a pass on the CPU. Nicely cleaned. Also clean up the keyboard, back of the keyboard right here. Once everything is cleaned down there, now we're gonna start cleaning up the heatsink. To do that, let's put the laptop to one side. And we're gonna grab a new working towel. And if I know where I put it, right over here. We're gonna open one right on the where we're gonna work. Now we're gonna start by cleaning up the heatsink, and again, just try to rub it off. It's really glued on. So that's why you should do your own service every often. Do not get to this grade of the dirtiness. Now we're gonna clean up this thermal paste from here, and we're gonna service up the fan. To service up the fan has a little tiny screws on it. So these are Phillips number 00000. The 000, and we're gonna go ahead and remove the Phillips screws right on the fan shield, right on top. So remove one black screw one right there. Remove that one. Remove these two by the heatsink right over here. Once you remove all this, let's see. There are tiny clips right there. Now we can just slide out the fan, and we see all this dirt right in there accumulated right over there. So that's why when it overheats, the pipes can get cooled and the CPU starts over throttling. So we need to clean up all this. You can take it outside. You can even wash it out with a soap, clean it up nicely, and let it dry out, or use a toothbrush to get into and an air compressor to get in between the fans. So I'm gonna take this outside and clean it up. And for the fan, you want to clean it up nicely too. All you need to do is grab the toothbrush and just clean it up nicely. Again, do this way and then do it the inside. This is a brushless fan, so you want to clean it up, clean up the back, and blow some air through this. I didn't wash it. I put alcohol right straight from on the top, so I can clean up a little bit. You don't have to go crazy. It's gonna get dirty, so do as much as you can. And don't use water on the fan. Only use alcohol, the isopropyl alcohol, and clean it up nicely. Once it's cleaned up and the heatsink is cleaned up, you want to bring it over, sit it down, make sure the clip right here goes through, flip it upside down, and put the tiny screws right on the plate, so holding the fan in place. There we go. Now we're gonna put the 000 back in place. Now that we did do our cleaning for the fan system, do a second pass nicely on the GPU. Now we're gonna bring back the computer. and we're gonna do the final cleaning and ready to go. So do a simple dry pass on the die. Make sure you don't have any grease, fingerprints on top of the dies. And grab your thermal paste, put 1 drop on the GPU, 1 drop on the CPU, and if you want to, I'm not changing the thermal pad because I don't have the 0.4 millimeter thermal pad right now, and they don't get really hot, so it's just there for them to be cooled a little bit. So you can add only the Arctic MX4 because this is a soft thermal paste. 1 drop right there, and it will fill up the pores in the old pad right there, and it can actually help out a little bit. And now what we're gonna do, we're gonna grab the point over this part and you're gonna bring it over and we're gonna set it down straight. Once we put it down, we're not gonna lift it up again. And first we're gonna start with the CPU X clamp. You start from the corner here inside. So we're gonna start from here, then go crossover to number 2. You always wanna screw them. Number 4, and they screw at the back here. And put the 2 screws for the GPU. And also plug in the fan cable, that's very important. Once you did that, grab the service cover, bring it over, place this part down first at the back by the exhaust right there, where the air vent goes out. And then just press it down, make sure you do those tiny clicks. And the last thing would be to just toughen up the screws at the cover. I hope that you like this video and helped you guys out to do your own service and maintenance for your Dell laptop. And if it did, please click that like button. And if you want to support the channel, just subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. And if you guys have any question or request, leave them in the comment area and I always try to answer them as soon as I can. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys in my next video.